face, you got anything to say?
Journey to the
Yeah,
capital
no.
will end. The two fingers will do. You maybe.
Where's your stepdaughter? She downstairs yet? I got nothing to say to him yet. Got nothing to offer them yet. And I feel like I've done an awful lot to not have anything to do here. Aww.
Oh, you still have a D as well.
I do. I have very distinctly not given him anything. So, Roger,
though.
unfortunately, not so lucky.
Are you here for spirit?
Well, we got one of those. I don't think there's anything that you need to do for me.
Well, I took you for no matter. It's all out your arms.
Oh. Yeah, she's not down here. I don't remember how to get her to move down here.
I thought she kind of did that on her own. You maybe moved her to the castle already?
Maybe I have. I think I did go back and chat with, what's his nuts,
I am pleased to see. Would you like
Yep.
me to? The blessing is still aflame in you. Would you
Yes.
like? Now,
Give me a hug, Fia.
come closer.
The world's slowest
And
hug.
to get your hugs.
You are so very warm. I heard that you lent a. He seemed positively. He must be possessed of great. It anchors his will, and so you truly are. To dear Roger.
Yes, I am. Oh, why thank you for the stick.
I'd like you to find the. It's a very precious thing. Then good day to you.
Yep.
Oh, she gave you a twig.
Must have been in return for the antler that I was putting through her throat for that whole hug.
I mean, she is committed to hugs. She will not let some antlers stop her from
Very
doing it.
clearly. Can't remember if there's anything I need from these people yet. These people, I say this lady yet. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I have both of these. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got both of his, so I can actually probably
Oh, go forth.
pop some souls out of that later.
Anyway. But I've yet to do anything with most of the Lord Souls that I've gotten.
Yeah, some of the weapons are worth it. Hey, Lieutenant's still there?
It depends on the build.
True enough. Oh, did I ever do that?
It is one of those areas where intelligence bills are kind of underserved, I think.
Yeah.
I think Renala's the only one that gives anything int scaling.
I think that probably is correct. I legit do not remember.
Lich Dragon, that is two faith scaling options, Fire Giant, two faith options.
Wonderful. Your
Godric
so
has a kind of a shitty faith scaling option and a
belongs to you by right.
strength
You should use it,
focus.
it's true. I wish to return, but that's no excuse to him.
Tricard is I guess I could use his Rancor with this build.
Okay.
But his sword is definitely a faith scaling weapon. Dawn. Okay, his greatsword has int
Is
scaling
it really?
at an E rate
I'm surprised even that.
and a 38 strength requirement. So, yeah, it's got it, but I wouldn't call it an int scaling weapon. Yeah, Morgott, nope. Ogwyn is an arcane scaly thing.
Greetings. Oh, what have we here? Very well,
Malekith,
let us
two-faith
hope
scale.
all things can be conjoined.
Elden Beast, two faith.
Oh, what have very well. Heresy is not all things.
Not only is that arcane scaling, it's also an incantation and not sorcery.
Oh, there you go.
Ah, fuck it, let's try Rytard's Rancor.
Why not? I have it. I've never used it.
Releases searing spirits that repeatedly explode after delay.
I mean, sounds like fun.
Hey, come here, frog victims. See how splatty pamf this thing is. That's not impressive.
Oh, that's disappointing.
God, all that fucking tracking and it still doesn't hit anything.
That sounds super disappointing.
I don't know, maybe big stuff that doesn't move around much?
I mean,
Maybe that's the key?
often is a purpose like that.
There's lots of little explosions. They each seem to do 279 damage apiece.
Ooh, wahoo.
Yeah, I'm not. This is not crazy exciting.
Must be some reason that it's worth getting at all, but
You will then. Do you from your description? It can be no other than the Gold Mask himself. Of course, I knew he would be close by.
I mean, if you
The
can
Gold
sort of
Mask.
lure things into it, it'll hit them a couple of times. That's really fucking disappointing, spells get.
yeah, no, it really is.
May the Golden Order. I will soon leave. It is entirely thanks to you. May
And,
the Golden Order shine through.
Kind of not impressed with that.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate.
Stuff that I haven't tried yet. I do have a couple. That. Put some more testing on these frog people.
What do these frog people ever do to you?
They sit still for an opening shot, and then a very consistent set of resistances for me to play with.
Yeah, no, that would do it. Bastards.
Ah, we meet yet again. Thanks to you, I have become
could they?
acquainted with the
Exactly.
villain, taken my place by his side.
Wow.
Have no fear.
That's
Still
extreme.
do, though we must do so quietly. The Master is all while I frantically attempt to record his wisdom, though I am yet to comprehend even the daintiest more. I know that this, the Golden Order, has bestowed me, talentless as I am. May the Golden
I guess I knew this, but it's nice to have it confirmed.
Yeah.
He is missed, does literally nothing to standard mobs.
I mean, still disappointing, but yeah.
Bok the seamster, ready to make adjustment. Master, may I ask, would you mind if I called you Lord? I heard well. I know that you will be the one, and you'd make just the manner of kind-hearted Lord that I'd wish for. So please, if you would, allow me to call you Lord.
And to think I wasted skill points unlocking this spell.
Oh, what's that?
My Lord. Please, and please.
Tibia summons.
Bok the seamster remain at your
Okay.
side.
I know I have it, but I never bothered.
Going
Is it that bad?
Please do be safe on your journeys.
It's pretty bad.
Super unfortunate.
If you can get something to sit perfectly still, it'll do about 580 damage to it with my
Oh,
stats.
wahoo.
Yep. What is...
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I need to do until I hit Landell. Or at least Gelmir, so. Alright.
significantly less than a night comet. Mind you, I have kind of built into the night comet, but still,
Yeah, still.
I could do a little better than that. Tibia
Right.
summons.
So, Sainted Hero's Grave.
There's a whole raft of spells I feel like I wasted some that's on. Alright, Hero's Grave, you say.
Sainted one.
Painted one.
Sainted. Sainted Hero's Grave.
Oh, Sainted one.
Mhm.
I thought you said tainted one. Like a tainted Hero's Grave.
That's a fair mistake. Oh. Nothing to do with taint today.
Still, best use of the word taint is in the Two Worlds series.
Is it?
Please look it up. Games are fucking horrible. But they have this weird charm, like, for being so horrible.
Okay.
Came out about the same time as Skyrim. Trying real hard to be Skyrim.
I see.
With a quarter of the budget and half of Bethesda's technical skill.
Oh, that's a great sign.
Oh, they are truly something special.
Well, never cared for Skyrim either.
I enjoyed it a month or two after it came out.
Fair. Honestly, just never cared for the Scrolls games.
I find them generally more interesting than good.
I mean, that
Though I I maintain Morrowind was pretty fantastic for the time.
For the time, I'm sure it was.
Um, Still one of the better versions or instances of an Elder Scrolls game,
Yeah.
even to this day.
Okay, this is that one.
Daggerfall is worth being aware of, if nothing else,
Well,
considering what that game managed to pull off.
that is now something that I am. I am now aware of it.
Oblivion was kind of a letdown.
Fair.
Skyrim had something to offer a couple of months after it came out, and the modders fixed everything,
It's also fair.
which is a decent transition point to the fucking problem with all of the Elder Scrolls games.
Which there are many.
Okay, wait, hang on.
Hanging on.
Wait, no, I got this, hang on.
Yep.
Hang on.
I'm
I got-
hanging on.
Hang on.
Hanging on.
Ah,
Your
fuck,
life.
Hang on. I got this. Hang on. Bubbles.
Fuck's sake.
Dude, that was mine. I called it.
Eventually, you might have hit him with one.
Yeah, probably not. You there? Come here.
Here, boy.
Yeah, I think Skyrim is long past its prime and has been for about a decade at this point.
And yet, they just keep re-releasing it.
Yes, they do. I'm not even remotely convinced that they have done any work on Elder Scrolls 6 before that one reveal trailer.
Oh, no.
And even now, I'm pretty sure they haven't done much.
I'm pretty sure they've done a reveal trailer.
And that was in response to the shit-ass launch of 76.
Yeah. I hear that was pretty bad.
Haven't played it. Haven't heard anything that makes me want to play it.
Never heard anything about it recovering.
Wasn't a big fan of 4. Wasn't the biggest fan of 3. New Vegas
New
was
Vegas
solid.
is actually...
I endorse New
It's
Vegas.
actually the only one that I've played. I got lucky on that one. And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I mean, given your tolerance for things that were good when they happened but are now ancient and don't actually run that well, I'd recommend the first 2.
That's fair. I know it's a big difference from there up to the more modern ones.
Oh yeah, they are totally different games. Like, in just about every conceivable way. It's not just different mechanically and presentationally, it is different tonally, it has different goals, different priorities, it is just an entirely different
Right.
game. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think the Elder Scrolls is a dead series at this point.
Yeah.
But maybe 6 will be amazing, but I doubt it. And I also don't think we're going to find out anytime soon.
Oh no. I'm sure there will be yet another Skyrim port first.
And if there's so much as another cell phone generation between here and there, it's
Right.
guaranteed. know, you can mod most of the Elder Scrolls games into something worth playing.
Oh yeah.
Like that's absolutely doable. Even today, a heavily modded Skyrim is probably worth looking into.
I do appreciate the ridiculous novelty with some of the mods.
Even in a more like serious tone.
Oh no, I'm sure. I just honestly,
You know, you can mod mechanics, maps, and
I
fill out a bunch of the
didn't
gaps.
so much as have the interest to even get that far. My experience with Skyrim was playing it long enough to pretty much get out of the starting area. And that took me long enough of getting fucking lost and trying to figure out what in the dicks I was supposed to be able to do, that I had already lost interest by the time I finally got to a point where it was like, okay, if I quit the game here, I might eventually be able to come back to it.
Where'd you go?
I went all the way back in the wrong direction, I think, and took the buddy with me.
I think you did. No, he didn't follow
Oh,
me.
he definitely followed me. Just,
No, but I mean, the part of the appeal was supposed to be the ability to sort of get lost and absorbed into the world, and make your own fun, as it were.
well, again, I would like to submit the fact that I, got lost in the starting area. That there was no getting lost in the world. Yeah. It was, I woke up in a fucking wagon, and then I stumbled around a village until I found my way into a tunnel, and that took me like 45 minutes.
Okay.
And like I said, by that point I had long since lost interest.
Backstab. Backstab anyway. More heavy doors open.
So it seems. We missed anything? I don't feel like we probably skipped a few things up there.
I don't know that we've skipped anything important. This being one of the more tolerable hero dungeons.
Indeed. Ooh. Got me with that one.
Yeah, you don't want to do
Oh,
that.
not so much.
You know, one of the problems with, even modded Skyrim is good is that you have to mod the crap out of it to get that to happen. Which unfortunately requires you to be slightly familiar with the game to start modding it, to kind of know what you want to fix.
Yeah. And honestly, if it's not good enough out of the box, I don't really see what modding it's going to do for me.
Mods can do a lot.
Oh no,
Skyrim's a prime example.
I know it absolutely can. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like my thing about, how, oh, this show is great if you just get to the third season. It's like, well, then it's not great. You know what I mean?
And that's a similar stance that I have for most TV shows.
Yeah. And again, there are exceptions, having just...
Unless you can say this first season is 100% skippable and season 2 is good.
Yeah.
But even then, that's not a point in its favor.
No, not at all. And so, this fucking AAA world-changing fucking game from one of the major game studios is good if you mod it heavily. seems to me that it's not good.
And I still think it was pretty good when it came out. Like, I thought it was well worth playing at the time.
Yeah. Honestly, had I gotten any further in it, I probably would have just gotten lost in the inventory.
Which was one of the things that needed fixing.
And you know me, I'm the one who wants to pick up everything, gather everything, 10 of everything. And ooh, boy, is that going to punish me in a game like that.
Yeah, well, they also had encumbrance limits, which means you would not have been able to.
Exactly. But I'm sure I would have probably more than once found myself over-encumbered, waddling around somewhere, refusing to drop that completely worthless piece of garbage.
Yeah, and it is a world full of garbage you really don't need to be hauling around.
Yep. And I'm sure that there's a fair amount of time that you get into the game before you realize what is garbage.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty easy to figure out, actually.
Well, fair then.
A man only needs so much raw fish.
Oh, but what if I need more?
But you don't and never will.
But how am I supposed to know that?
The fact that it's fucking everywhere and useless.
But if I've just started the game, I don't know it's useless. I have played games where I just should have kept that stick until the final boss. This is the generation I was raised in.
I mean, I'm not far off.
No, but again, that's you know, what I'm saying is that you and I also have very different philosophies about collection and completion in games.
Yeah, it's safe to say we have different tastes. That's why the Tuesday show is different than the Thursday show.
Exactly. You know, you missed half of the game on your first playthrough, and you're still already sick of Elden Ring.
I mean, I like Elden Ring. I'm dead sure I will come back to it someday, but I've run through it twice.
Exactly.
Between the two runs, I probably have picked up basically everything.
Oh, I would be willing to doubt that pretty heavily, actually.
I said basically everything. Not absolutely.
Still be willing to doubt that. I did create a spreadsheet.
Well, if we feel like getting pedantic, we can go through it. I've seen the credits twice.
Let's see.
And to be honest, just as a tribute to difference in taste and pace, part of me's starting to wander a little bit away from Salt and Sanctuary. Or Salt and Sacrifice.
That is fantastic. I mean, I'm already kind of done with how non-directional it is. Like, I don't think that we're... here's the thing. I don't think that we're necessarily doing ourselves any favors by playing it multiplayer the first time around, just as far as trying to follow what we're supposed to do and where we're supposed to go. I think it's probably easier for us to kind of explore and, you know, pick up on shit solo. Or at the very least for me, I think it probably would be. I'm paying more attention to shit solo. That's not to say that I'm not enjoying playing it multiplayer more. But...
Okay. So I did do a little poking around single player.
Uh-huh.
we were wondering where to go at the end of last session. It was really fucking obvious.
See, there you go.
It was actually really, really goddamn obvious where we should have gone.
So, again, then, we are not necessarily doing ourselves any favors trying to bug around with it like that. So, if we start doing a little bit more of, you know, research like that, going, okay, fine, I give up, let me figure out where the fuck to go, it might be more compelling to stick with it, because I know that we can't be very far into it. I know we've got to have a long way to go on this game.
Looking at the wiki, it looks like about a third.
Okay.
Maybe a half, depending on kind of what metric you're using.
Care to join me for Altus Tunnel?
Sure. It's Altus Tunnel.
Right here.
There's the old Altus Tunnel.
It is in the southeast corner of the sunken forest where the minor tree is. So, just, yeah,
Altus
there's east of where we just were.
I was literally standing on top of it, that's why you can see. Yeah, whereas for me, second run-throughs, I mean, Dark Souls is kind of the exception where I'm even all that interested in doing them.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think that that's probably why I so like going in and trying to search every nook and cranny and corner and find everything. My first run through, to the point where sometimes I will look shit up, because I know it's unlikely that I'm really going to have the chutzpah to go through a second run. Very few games have that much replayability to me. Yeah, the Souls series has been an exception for me as well.
Yeah, and Dark Souls is very good about rewarding that kind of behavior in a way that a lot of other games aren't.
Exactly.
You know, it is one of the few games where I kind of intentionally do a blind, totally blind, I find what I find run, and then follow that up with something a little more thorough.
Right.
Most of the time, that's not the case. Certainly wasn't with Skyrim.
I can imagine.
I don't know. But to me, Skyrim had a slightly different appeal. Like, I've never done the main quest in Skyrim.
Really?
Literally never.
That feels like something that you should have to do eventually.
Absolutely not. Kind of the point.
The point of the game is to not do the main quest?
You can 100% ignore it if you want to, and there's still a ton of game there for you.
That you can ultimately beat without doing the main quest?
Well, I mean, beating it is kind of not a concept.
Okay. See, that's another thing that's lost on me is open-ended games. Like, fine, I understand it if it's like a fighting game or something. I don't really need a story. I don't really need the conclusion to a plot. But that's...
Well, but fighting games are hella completable.
But I was just gonna say, but you know, they usually still have a final fight or whatever, but you know, you just keep going back and replaying them as long as you want until you get bored, and it's not like you're missing story elements or anything.
Well, it's usually because there's dick all for story.
Exactly, that's
better off ignoring
the point. But if you've got any sort of RPG or exploration game of any sort, I need a story and I need a fucking end. Preferably multiple ends. I need to be able to trigger, you know, the fucking credits. I need some sort of resolution to whatever the hell I'm doing.
Well, I mean, it's still there if you want it. You just don't have to engage with it at all.
Oof, that was close.
Totally fuck off the main story.
And then just never actually beat the game.
I mean, even doing the main story isn't really beating it.
What is?
Being done.
Just stopping playing?
Basically. You have accomplished that which you set out to do.
Well,
And in the case of... I'm
yes,
leaving,
you are.
by the way. Fuck your opinion on Elder Scrolls. No, and there are a bunch of other like stories and even fairly significant side quests that you can engage in.
Yeah. No, you've just guaranteed that I will never be bothering to give it a chance.
I wouldn't actually push you towards Skyrim.
Oh no, I wouldn't expect you to push me towards it, but like I will never push myself towards it. I will never explore it on my own. I was probably never going to anyway, but that idea is just terrible to me. I cannot fathom the idea of finding satisfaction in, you know, playing a game until I'm done playing it and then just not playing it. Like, I might as well just not play it.
Then you miss out on playing it.
To what fucking purpose?
Enjoying it?
Well, see, I enjoy, again, a story with an ending. If you're going to present it as having the possibility for such.
And if it's not presented as such?
Then I wouldn't enjoy the open-endedness of it. Think of it as very similar to, like, WoW. There's no beating WoW.
Which,
and there's just
no.
max leveling until they raise the level.
The thing, I think, about MMOs, this is hypothetical because it's never been one of my genres, is you play that with the people that you're playing it.
Very much so. But, you know, I would compare it to something like Diablo, which is super fun to play multiplayer, super fun to, you know, try out all the different classes and everything else. And even when they were doing the seasons, so it was just, you know, side questing shit for the sake of just having multiplayer goals, you still had a, like, 5-act story that you could complete and ultimately defeat Diablo and roll the credits and win. And then do it over and over again however many times you want.
There are a lot of people that would argue that the end credits of Diablo are not the end of Diablo, though.
Oh no, I can absolutely understand that, but they are a satisfying end if you're willing to choose that to be. They have given you a sense of purpose and completion behind playing the game.
You just get the same thing by putting a controller down.
I do not. I don't remotely just feel a sense of completion by saying, okay, I'm done now. I need the game to tell me, good job, you're done now.
I get that out of the game just kind of not being very much fun.
Yeah, that is not what I would call a sense of accomplishment or completion. That is just what I call, okay, I'm fucking done. Now, it's more rage quitting than beating it.
Oh, I would absolutely not call it rage quitting. Rage quitting is its own thing.
It's not rage quitting, it's just closer to it than beating it. Than to beating it. It's apathy quitting.
Again, I feel like that's a bit of a mischaracterization.
Well, I don't know how else you would characterize it. If you're just done playing, you just don't care to play anymore.
Played the fun part.
And you don't care about the rest. So you're quitting because you don't care. And what is not caring but apathy?
pursuing other opportunities.
that have nothing to do with this game.
And
Therefore, it is apathy towards this game.
I mean, if you want to phrase it that way, I suppose.
That's pretty much the only way I could possibly think of it. And again, I mean, obviously it's worth, pointing out that this is all entirely subjective. It's not like either of us is, a right or wrong opinion on this. That's just how it makes me feel, I get absolutely no satisfaction out of the idea of just saying, okay, I have reached my own conclusion in this game without any sort of, triggering of anything. And again, I should also...
Without getting the pat on the head?
Yeah, exactly. Without going, congratulations, you have done everything in this game that we have, intended you to do. Here's a medal. And again, I should also restate that there are certain games that is different for me with. There are certain games where it's like, it's not trying to build itself as this adventure, as this story, as this exploration. That it's just like, okay, yeah, cool. I've reached the end of playing this game. For me...
And that's just kind of the attitude I carry into all video games.
Apparently.
I mean, the point is to have fun, and for all video games, there's typically a point at which I stop having fun. Sometimes that's the credits, sometimes it's on the far side of the credits, sometimes it's on the near side.
Indeed. So, if you stop having fun in a game before you have actually reached the point at which the game wants to tell you that you've, completed it, do you still feel like you've gotten your money's worth out of the game?
Potentially.
Okay.
Now, that's not guaranteed. Some games start sucking pretty quickly. And if hopefully you're still within the refund window, and you can rectify this problem.
So there is still a difference for you of, when you quit still being a difference in how you feel about the game and whether or not you feel satisfied by it.
Yeah. Yeah, some games you quit because they suck. Some games...
So why...
You've had enough fun.
I was just going to say, I'm having trouble... Oh, shit. Crystal fuckers.
Okay, I have my mace.
I am honestly having trouble understanding why you would stop playing a game that has an end game before you've reached that end game if it doesn't suck.
Because it has stopped being fun, or something else has shown up to do it.
Okay, so what is the difference to you between it has stopped being fun and it sucks?
If I had fun at a certain point during it, preferably for an extended period of time.
So it's just the difference between it has stopped being fun and it never was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a marked difference between those two things.
Fair, fair. Well done with those.
Yeah, already had the mace
Yep.
up.
Mace, very good.
I'm not angry at games that stop being fun before the credits show up.
Yeah, no, that's why I said it's. I agree that it's different from rage quitting. That's why I distinguished it by calling it apathy quitting. It's just, I just don't care enough about it to finish it. That's kind of how I would characterize
and then
that.
some games are... Yeah, but some games are kind of designed towards that end. They're an open sandbox.
Oh, and this is absolutely true. I would not have characterized something like Skyrim as that, though. Because as far as I would understand,
And I think in any case, you're kind of looking at an apathy quit, if that's what we're calling it. Kind of regardless, right?
Well, what do you mean? Like, I wouldn't call it an apathy quit if you've, reached the end game, credits rolled,
I mean,
dinosaur roars,
Well, take Diablo. Are you going to max level, max equipment every single character?
I did.
All of them?
Yeah, some cases twice, including in hardcore.
That is a tremendous level of equipment. Or well, it is a tremendous level of
It is.
commitment. That's what I was going for.
But I would say that that's not necessarily what I would expect most people to consider, end game. What I would consider end game in Diablo is beating Diablo. I wouldn't consider beating Diablo and then stopping before you've reached the end game. So there's 5 acts. There's 5 acts in the Diablo story. I think if you actually that's not even true because they added. I think the 5th act was post Diablo. You're fighting against something else, at least in D3. And so I would say that if you're you just decide that you're content with beating second boss, then I would say that you didn't find the game compelling enough to finish, rather than, yes, I got all I wanted out of this game. So I would imagine that you went into it buying it, hoping to get more out of it than what you got if you finish before you beat the end boss.
Well, that's kind of a question of game structure, too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Diablo's, I think the idea behind, or at least a valid conception of Diablo, is you pick a character and you run them through the credits.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with the game structured, or at least conceptualized that way, then yeah, stopping before the credits could be considered a failure of the game if that's what you bought it for.
Now, what else would you buy it for?
Maybe you just want to dick around with some friends. And if you get that out of it, and that's what you wanted out of it, then the game succeeded.
I suppose that's entirely fair. If all you bought it for was to not play the game, story mode. Story mode.
See?
I was trying to think of the right word to finish my sentence. I wasn't trying to do anything. No.
Okay.
If you bought it for a purpose other than what the game, has on the box, then I suppose it's a different story. But we also, as we were discussing, Skyrim. Well, I mean, come on, let's be fair. Let's describe. Okay, let's take Halo as another good example.
Play with friends. I think play with friends is on the Diablo box somewhere.
I mean, that's fair, but it's certainly not the only, main selling point of it. Halo is another good example. If you only ever want to play multiplayer on Halo and you enjoy the hell out of it for, hours and hours on end, and then you stop playing, fine. I can understand somebody who plays like that. But I would still say that you missed out on what is supposed to be the primary point of the Halo game, which was the story. Now, is that still the primary reason that a lot of people...
I don't know that that's been the primary focus of a Halo game. In
it all depends on who's playing it, but yeah, no, I understand. But, let's take the first 4 Halo games.
First 2, maybe.
Yeah. Again, I didn't actually bother to play multiplayer myself until Halo 4. And then by the time that came out, I would go back and play a little bit in Halo 3 and
whereas I only ever dabbled around Halo 3, but I know of other people who, starting with the second one, kind of just didn't much mess with the campaign.
And see,
it's been Call of Duty's excuse for 20 years now.
Yeah, and that I can understand. Call of Duty, I've never heard of anybody caring about the campaign. But if I were to get it, I would beat the campaign. Actually, Black Ops, I think was one. I think that was one that I played.
That was well after I checked out.
I think that was 3 or something like that, whatever it was. Either way, I played one of them, and I played the campaign, and I never bothered to play multiplayer. But yeah, I can see where there's an argument that it's no, this is purely a multiplayer vessel.
I mean, I think if you the compromise point that I think we're probably both willing to drive at is if you're getting what you want out of the game, then the way you're playing it is fine.
Absolutely. But I think the key caveat for me is that it was what you wanted when you went into playing.
Hmm.
That kind of makes sense?
I just want to make sure that we're not characterizing a game as having failed because it's being played differently.
Oh, no. No, obviously not. Like I said, with Halo, it was a good example because it was, I think that you should be getting, enjoyment out of the campaign. I think that that is still a main intent, but I understand people who only play a multiplayer. But again, I don't think, like, Skyrim was meant to be played until you reached 73% completion. And then we're just done. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think we're still. The should is creeping in here a little bit.
Well, again, so did you buy Skyrim with the intent to not complete it? Or did you just decide to not complete it because you felt you were satisfied with it?
When I bought Skyrim, whether or not I finished the main campaign was a wide open question. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't.
But you wouldn't.
Kind of depended on what I felt like.
So you
doing.
wouldn't characterize that as what you had intended to do, though, when you bought it?
No.
Okay. I think that you're more the anomaly than the game, though. I honestly do.
I disagree.
Well,
Strongly disagree, in fact, in the case of the Elder Scrolls.
that's fair. I'm not exactly the key Elder Scrolls fan, so maybe I'm just unaware of how most people play that game, but I'm pretty sure most people fuzz Rodal the biggest dragon and ride the credits home.
I mean, we would need an audience to survey.
Absolutely
Obviously.
love to hear their opinion.
Otherwise, I guess I could go on find articles and point at them, but I don't know that that's actually going to
Right.
get us anywhere.
Again, with both of us being very subjective about this,
Mhm.
I think that you would have to have, the developers at fucking Bethesda saying, no, our game failed because people didn't do that. Which, gonna go ahead and guess I'm...
Good luck getting them to say that, even if they
Exactly.
think it.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go ahead and guess I'm not gonna have that in my corner, so... But with that, that brings us to 4 o'clock.
Oh, God, but the arguments were just starting
Oh,
to
I
happen.
know. It was getting good, wasn't it?
Next time, disagree
I'll see
faster.
what I can do. Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you I had one of my Badger friends. As a matter of fact, the Healing Havoc, the other streamer that was joining us last week, we have a mutual friend who he enjoyed watching us kind of debate like that. And so oftentimes it was about politics as he'd walk in the room. So he had taken to any time he happened to come into the house when the two of us were in the room together, he would just look at us and point at one of us and, first and then the other one, Democrat, Republican, and just walk out. Just, trying to poke at something.
Wow. That's just labeling.
I mean, obviously. It was basically the equivalent of, the martial arts referee walking up and, putting the hand between the two combatants. Face me, bow,
All right.
Well,
For the time being, we'll be back on Tuesday.
we will indeed.
Probably playing Salt and Sacrifice.
I mean,
But
who
who
knows,
knows?
indeed. Apparently it might have run its course.
All of you nobody should tune in to find out.
So, tune in to find out, or tune in to find it on YouTube. We are Badger597 and the kind of libido that causes problems. And we will catch you next time.
It's true.
We always appreciate like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And hope everybody has a good one. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/badger597.